Shut up!
Welcome back to Conversations with Carol and Cheryl. I guess today we're going to talk about how we selected our housing. In the prior episodes, we talked about the traits we looked for in our man, our wedding, and now our housing.
And the reason for this, right, is just to get to know us, what we did, what we're about.
Exactly. We'll get more into other details and dramas in future episodes, but I just think it's good for you, the listener, to have a little bit of background on us, kind of our journey. So, Cheryl.
Yes.
How did you select your housing after you were married?
Well, I was forced to select a house because I was pregnant in an apartment. So I decided, that's when we need to buy something. So we went house hunting for townhouses. It was amazing, the stuff that we came across. I mean, I opened one oven in one of the townhouses we were in, a condo actually, and it was packed with it was packed with like mail and just junk to get off the counter.
Oh my gosh.
And it was funny because for some reason I never opened up anybody's oven, but something possessed me to just open it up. And so I was like, well, okay, they can't even keep their countertops clear unless they shove it in the oven. So that place was out.
So wait, did you go into the bathrooms and open the bathroom cabinets to see what was in?
No, I did. That was kind of like the end of that place for me. So, and then another place we went up, they had like an attic bedroom. And all of a sudden there's like this grandmother with all these kids on this mattress on the floor.
Oh my God. They're hiding out from the potential buyers.
Yeah.
Hide and seek, tag you're it.
Yeah, I guess we said we wanted to look and they had to shove everybody upstairs. It was very bizarre. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has had experiences like that, but, in just dirty places, I was just shocked. But anyway.
So did you have a realtor?
Well, no, we did not. We were just, I think, in those days calling around. It was in the paper for rent, and you would call and say, "Can we come look at it?"
Oh, so you were looking for a rental, not to buy anything.
Excuse me, to buy.
Okay.
Up for sale or, whatever, and we would call and take a look.
So these were all for sale by owners?
Yeah, I guess they must have been. It's been quite a while. It's been 30 years. Actually, now I remember her last name. Isn't that awful? We did have a realtor, but I think we were going around on our own too. But anyway,
Okay.
In any case, I was just shocked at the places we found. And then my sister said, "Why don't you check 10 houses down from me?" And of course, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to have to live so close to a relative. And more so my husband. You want to keep that
That's
family
exactly
at
what
bay.
I was thinking.
Yeah. We went and we looked at it, and it was the cutest place. And the cleanest place. They were very clean. And the guy was an electrician, so everything had a dimmer on it. It was really nice. A very cute house. So we bought that house. And it was an issue living down the street from my sister. Anyway, that's how we bought our house. But the main thing was my husband at the time seemed really scared to pull the trigger on the house. And I looked at him one day and I said, "What's the problem,
Yeah.
He's like, "I just don't think I can buy anything." We realize you're growing up and can I really buy a house?
Yeah. This is too much adulting for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course you can, we can do this. So we did it. And so I'm still in the house today. It's small, but it has everything I need. And everyone fits comfortably. And it was in our price range. That was the most important thing. And that was really, I tell you, I must have foreseen the future somehow in my subconscious. Because I remember saying, we'll buy something that if one of us should lose our job, we can still live in it. And I don't think people were as competitive back then as they are now. Young people seem very competitive now. They have to have this. It's almost come full circle. It's weird, but I didn't have that at all. I just wanted comfort and something affordable. That was the basis for buying the house. It was clean and it was doable on one income. So we bought a townhouse.
I think that is so important. Because
Yeah.
you don't know what the future is going to bring.
No, and I think it was...
You want flexibility. You want options.
Yeah, it was the best decision I ever made in my life, to stay within my means. So what about you?
When we got married, we were in this low-income housing. We both owned condos. They were these old Gordon-style apartments. And looking back, we probably should have kept them and lived in separate condos and been married. I think that would have been like the best of the best.
Yeah. Just have sleepovers.
Yeah, we could do sleepovers and slumber parties and whatever.
That would make it exciting, wouldn't it?
What we ended up doing, we found a neighborhood that we wanted to live in that backed onto a lake. Housing prices were within our reach, and we were going to be able to keep the 2 condos and rent them out. The problem was there were no houses for sale in this neighborhood. Now, Butch had very narrow requirements of what he wanted. He wanted to be on a certain street in this certain neighborhood. And there were just no houses for sale.
He had it down to the street where he wanted to be?
He wanted to be on a certain street in this one neighborhood. There were 2 streets, and both those streets backed onto the lake. I was not as picky. I'm like, whatever, let's just get in a house.
Right.
In the neighborhood. We're close enough to the lake, we'll walk over to it. But when we started looking at the prices, those houses were 20% more. The ones that backed on the lake, they were a lot more money. And a lot of the houses had the original owners because they were such nice houses. People didn't move away from them. Mm-hmm. So it was really hard to get one of these. So what we ended up doing was moving in with my parents, which I highly recommend you don't do.
Right.
Because it turned out that my parents liked Butch more than they liked me.
Well, that's not a bad problem.
It was bad for me. So anyway, we waited 7 months for a house to come on the market. And in the meantime, we were able to rent our condos, which it was in the housing market where young couples were looking for rentals. We never had a problem finding tenants, and we found really good tenants. So I have a lot of experience with rentals. That can be another show. So anyway, we're living with my parents, commuting 30 miles one way down 95.
Oh, gosh.
It was hell. It was really hell. And we had 2 German Shepherds, too. Very grateful to my parents for housing us. We were able to save a lot of money. Then when the house that we wanted came onto the market, we were able to move on it very quickly. We did a for sale by owner, 5-bedroom house, plenty of room to grow, but it was very dated. There wasn't one upgrade. I'm proud to say I had the 1960s kitchen for about 15 years until we got around updating the kitchen. No woman does this. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You have a lot of self-restraint.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just I was so busy working, and we didn't have a lot of money to do the upgrades. So, you just work, sleep, repeat, and then 15 years goes by, and you're like, hey, let's do this kitchen. But like you, we tried to do everything on one income. And with the 2 rentals, we wanted to be able to maintain those without tenants. No tenant is better than a bad tenant. So that's how we set up our finances. And it was a little bit stressful. It was tight, but it was doable. But like you, I highly recommend trying to do everything on one income. Even though we had 2 incomes, we were both very established in our careers when we got married. So our income was predictable. But it just, I think, psychically took a lot of pressure off, knowing that if something happened to one of us, it wasn't going to be a crisis.
Yeah, that's how I felt. That is very comforting into your soul. You don't even realize it. And I didn't know when I was pregnant if I'd want to stay home.
Right.
No, I don't think anyone has any idea what they're really going to do. They think they can. Some people think they can go back, and then they find out they can't. Then some people think they'll stay home, and they go crazy, and they need to go back.
So, Cheryl, what worked for you when you were looking for your house?
Staying within our means, being able to survive on one income. I would say staying within my means and being comfortable. And like I said, I must have had it somewhere in my subconscious because I'm in the house today, and it's still comfort knowing that if I should lose my job, I could probably maintain it on a waitress income.
Wow.
Maybe,
That's great.
Yeah, so, and that's comforting being in charge of 2 kids. Well, I call them kids, but now they're adults. But yeah, so I think being in your comfort zone is definitely the way to go. That's what worked for me.
What about your location? Would you change your location?
No. I'm 20 minutes from everything, and I can get on the highway very quickly. Where I used to live, I was about 15 minutes from any freeway. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, but looking back, I mean, I kind of felt stuck. You couldn't get anywhere quickly.
Right.
And so where I'm at now, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's with us. We were doing that 30-mile one-way commute on 95. That was awful. And then when we got our house, it was 15 miles closer. And of course, it was an older house and a smaller house than if we were 15 miles even further out. I think for me, I would rather have the older model, be closer to work than sitting in my car. You spend another 45 minutes in the car, adding another 15 minutes.
I never got that concept. Well, we can buy a bigger house further out. That's what kind of quality of life is that?
Right.
I never got that. To me, I'd rather pay more and live closer and have the convenience and
In a
have
smaller
the time.
house or maybe an older dated house
Yes.
than new construction farther out.
Yes.
And then you have a bigger yard. So what are you doing on the weekend?
Right.
You're mowing your grass.
Right.
So you're spending your life sitting in your car and mowing your grass.
Right. Maintaining your house on the weekend. That's no life. That's
And
not
sleep,
life for
work,
me.
repeat.
Sleep, work, repeat. Oh, wait. Sleep, work, lawn, repeat.
Sit in car for an hour on traffic.
No.
So that was I think a good lesson for us, having that 7 months doing that.
I bet, yeah.
Because some people don't mind doing that. Or taking a train. And then you come home and you have a really nice big house with everything's updated. But for me, I just want to get home. I didn't want to sit in a car.
Right. Well, I also find that the older construction is sturdier. You don't hear.
That's true.
Yeah, you don't hear. Like the newer houses, I just don't feel they're constructed the same. The older houses and older apartments and condos, you can't hear your neighbors like you can. These people I know that buy these condos, and they're like, I can't sleep at night because the tenant upstairs walks around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
The walls are paper thin.
Yeah. I think the older is better.
Yeah, I do too. But I guess we're lucky in our jobs that we have that we make pretty good money. I would move farther out and have something smaller if I didn't have the work that I have. I would move farther out, maybe to get a little bit more house.
You would?
Yeah.
If you didn't have to
If
commute.
it was one income. If I was only on one income.
Oh, okay. Oh, so in other words, you'd sacrifice the commute to live in a smaller house to stay within your means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. If I had to move farther out because that's what my budget allowed, I would do that. But I just feel grateful I didn't have to. Because we had the two incomes, we make pretty good money.
That's why I'm afraid to move, because if I ever sold this house, I don't think I could afford to ever come back. Once you're in, you're in. But if you think you're going to move and leave and come back, then you're priced out.
Yeah, the other thing about the neighborhood we chose, and I didn't know this when I was doing it, our community was one of the best communities in Northern Virginia. We had a babysitting co-op, a swim team. Our elementary school was like number one in the county for a long time. We had Spanish immersion. So there were a lot of things that just coincidentally worked out for me that I wasn't looking for in the beginning. I was looking for a place to walk my dogs, a lake to walk the dogs around. I wasn't thinking about the elementary school. I wasn't thinking about a babysitting co-op. I didn't even have kids. So as I evolved with my family and into my marriage, we started moving away from the dogs and into other activities. And our community was just terrific.
Great.
The other moms, it was the same education level, we all kind of had the same job skills. And then we had the same goals for our kids. And like I said in a prior episode, I didn't really have any family around. So I had to create a new family pod with my community. And I was able to do that in our neighborhood.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it worked out really well.
Yeah, mine worked out for me too, just as well.
Yeah.
We didn't have all that, but it worked out.
Yeah. And then the commute just turned out to be great too. There were carpools, trains, express lanes to get downtown pretty quick. And then, of course, you could leave in the middle of the night, get on those express lanes and be off them by 6 a.m.
Right.
But still, we lived right on the express lanes. At the time they ended, at my exit. They didn't go all the way out the way they do now.
Oh, right, right.
So I didn't even know what a bus lane was.
Right. You're blessed then.
Yeah, yeah. To have a job where you could drive your car to work and park it somewhere,
Yeah.
that would be like heaven. But we
Right.
didn't have that. There's just no parking, and it just didn't make sense to drive in. All of those other options were available, and that made it great too. So I don't know, what would you do differently if you had to do it again?
I don't think I would do it differently. I often say to my kids, if I won the lottery, I don't think I would move. I think I would just upgrade the hell out of my home.
You'd bedazzle your stairway.
Yeah. The more sparkles, the better. And make my ceiling like a
Twinkle
consolation with twinkle lights. And, that's one thing about having a small place. I would say, when you have a small place, make it the way you want it. Put your money into making things exactly the way you want, instead of putting it into square footage. And then that way, like, I've decorated this house so many different ways. I've changed the carpet. I now have, it's a vinyl with the hardwood floor look. I've painted 3 or 4 times. And I like that. I like changing it. Like, I'm already ready to change it up a little bit. So when you have a small place, you can do that. 3, 4 years, repaint, get new furniture. And I like that. So I'm more able to do that than if I had this huge house. Looking at these new houses now, for 55 and over, I'd like to look online. And the seating areas is ridiculous.
What do you mean?
They have, the new look is you have the big counter, 4 to 6 bar stools. Then you have a breakfast nook next to that, 4 seats and a table. Then you have a family room area off that, which is about a couch or 2 sitting chairs or a love seat. And then you have another sitting area on the other side, in front of like a fireplace, and then you have a sitting area off the master bedroom.
But you need this if you're married. These are escapes. You're thinking of your world.
Right.
Why do I need all these sitting areas?
I just thought, it's got to be lonely. One person sitting at a 4-top counter, chairs empty.
Well, maybe they entertain. People like to entertain.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean,
know.
it's just...
We just don't like people that much.
Yeah.
We don't want people in our space.
Well, I would love that, but I just, nobody... It's just not the thing people do much anymore, at least around here. But anyway, I say small, redecorate as many times as you want, and make it exactly how you want.
I was thinking about, after I bought my house, the traits that I need in my man. Definitely need a handyman.
Oh, my God.
Otherwise you're going to be writing checks.
That would be
everything.
a turn on to have a handyman.
Right?
Yes.
You've never seen Butch bent over with his crack hanging out as he's fixing the faucet.
Oh, my God.
But that's the other thing with owning a home. There's always something to do. And if you have this huge house, you have to clean it, you have to heat it, you have to air condition it. There's so many things that can break. The more bathrooms you have, the more leaks you're going to have. And then you're spending all your time just maintaining your property. So I'm with you, less is more. But since we bought that house, we've now sold it and moved into an apartment because, the kids moved out and it's just 2 of us with 1 dog. And the apartment is wonderful. Something breaks, we open a ticket.
There is something to be said for apartment living.
Yeah, I just love it.
It's a shame, though. It seems like the tide has turned, though. It's more reasonable to live in a house than in an apartment.
It is.
But I remember the days when the apartment was cheaper than the house, and I love apartment living. Today I will do that.
I mean, for us, it's temporary. We're not going to be in the apartment that long, but going from the 5-bedroom house to the 2-bedroom apartment, it was a big downsizing exercise, but less is more. I mean, I just feel so free. Got rid of everything, just have basics of what I need. If I bring something in, something has to go out because there's not enough room.
One time I heard someone say that these people that lose their homes, and I don't know, thank God I don't have any experience on this, but I've heard some people say it's very freeing when their house burns down. They're free of all their stuff.
Yeah.
I think some people have found that. Yeah.
It really does. Stuff weighs you down.
Well, and then you end up packing it up after all the years of living, like you're living in your house, and getting rid of good stuff that you paid money for. I mean, I'm sure it's probably older now and stuff, but I had to clean out our family home, and that was a real life lesson. It's just like the stuff that we had to get rid of, I had to get rid of, was insane. Wow, all this money that was spent on this. Less is more.
but you tend to grow into your space, don't you think?
Yes.
If you have a lot of space, you're going to grow into it. Like that 55 and over you're describing. Look at all the chairs and couches you have to have just to fill the space that you're not even going to use. And that's the other thing. Like when you were growing up, were you allowed in your living room?
No. Stay out of the living room. Yeah, and no one uses formal living rooms anymore.
We never used ours.
Yeah.
We never had company.
I remember
but we weren't allowed in there.
I remember my kids going to their grandma's house and going, "What's this room for? Who sits in here? We never come in here."
Yeah, so you can just eliminate that room.
Yeah.
You don't even need it.
No. In talking about all this, it sounds like we usually like to have a takeaway or wrap it up, and it seems like we both would not change what we did. We both did what we did. It was the right move then, and we still think it's the right move now. So we wouldn't have changed anything.
Yeah, I think so.
I agree.
So, Cheryl, it's been really great chatting with you today about our housing, and I invite our listeners to post comments about housing decisions on our Facebook or Instagram, as well as any topics you would like us to cover, or if there's something that you would like to know about us that we haven't talked about, as far as how we met our husbands and
Who we are.
yeah, who we are. I mean, we're going to get into more topics here. Our next episode will be on how to get pregnant. Not that that's a big mystery or
Right.
hard to do or something you need to practice, but we'll share our experiences. So stay tuned for that episode. Thanks again, Cheryl.
Thanks, Carol. See y'all later.
Okay, bye.